Today I'm going to show you how I created this fun Celebrate shaker card. So for today's card, I've gone ahead and prepared a lot of the pieces. So I've gone ahead and cut out a white frame using the Layer It die set, and I've cut out the largest frame in this die set. And then I went ahead and stamped out some of the balloons in orange and in pink. And I have several sizes of those that I've stamped out. And I stamped those out using the Celebrate stamp set. And then I also stamped out the word Celebrate using this stamp set. And then I've gone ahead and cut all of the pieces out using the Celebrate coordinating dies. Now I will list and link below in the description to all of the products that I'm using today. So I've gone ahead and prepared all of those. And so then I went ahead and I used the Happy Swirls embossing folder. And after I embossed it, then I inked it with some orange and pink ink just to highlight those swirls and make them stand out more. I like to ink it after I emboss it so that they stand out better, and then you have a little bit of that white in the background. Then I did go ahead and cut out a piece of acetate that will fit inside of the frame. I just cut it about the same size as the frame. I didn't use a die, I just cut it out with my paper trimmer. So now I'm just going to put this card together with you today. So the Celebrate stamp set comes with these little, it comes with stars, but these aren't really, these are kind of like stars, like little sparkly. It's to add a little sparkle to your design. I'm going through and I'm just stamping my white frame, just adding a bit more color to it with these little sparkly stars. And so that will just add a little bit more to this frame so it's not so plain. I wanted the frame to be mainly white, but I just wanted a little bit of design on it. So then I'm going to go ahead and put my frame together. So I'm just going to use some double-sided adhesive or my tape runner here to go ahead and add some of the tape to the back of my frame. You can use liquid glue, but I struggle using liquid glue in shaker cards. I end up getting it on my acetate and messing up my acetate. So I'm just using double-sided tape here, and then I'm just going to lay my piece of acetate onto my frame. And like I said, I cut this out with my paper trimmer and just cut it just a itty bitty bit smaller, almost the same size as the frame, so that it just fits that entire rectangle. And then I'm just going to attach it that way. That way I can keep my acetate clean. For me, liquid glue is just a mess when it comes to acetate. Now here I did get a little bit of fingerprints on it, so I'm just going to wipe it off. And I'll just wipe the front and the back to make sure I get my fingerprints off. And so there we have our framed out acetate. So then I'm just going to bring in some foam tape, and I'm just using strips of foam tape that I've cut down here, and I've just cut them to fit each edge of the frame. So the whole thing with the shaker card, if you've never created one, you want to be sure that all of your foam pieces butt up against each other, so you don't want any gaps between those foam pieces. So the side edges and the top edges, you want all of that to kind of butt up against each other or line up against each other so that your confetti or your sequins or whatever you're putting in there does not fall out. So then I'm going to bring in some of this beautiful pink glitter confetti, and I'm just going to add it to the front of my card. I'm just dropping it down to the front of my card, and then I'm also going to bring in some of the white glitter confetti, and I'm going to do the same thing. This time I'm going to add it to my hand and sprinkle a little bit in because I don't want as much white as I do the pink. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that. And so I'm just going to go back and forth, adding a little bit of each until I get the mixture the way I like it. So once I have the amount of confetti that I like, then I'm going to attach my frame. But here's a little trick that I like to do. I'm just going to expose two parts of the foam, the top piece and the bottom piece. I'm going to leave the sides covered up for now so that I can just have control of how I stick this down. So I'm going to start out by just sticking down the top and the bottom. Then I'm just going to reach underneath with my little pokey tool. Sometimes I can use my finger. Sometimes it's easier to just use your pokey tool and grab a hold of that paper and just remove that from your foam tape once it's down like this. That way you don't stick it down to your confetti. And also this is an easier way to get everything lined up. For me it is anyway. So if you struggle with getting your pieces glued down, give this a try. You may find that it's a lot easier this way. Now we want to decorate this up a little bit more. I love the shaker bits in there, but we need some decoration on the front of our card as well. So now I'm just going to come in with my balloons and decorate. But first, I want to add a little bit more to my balloons. So I'm just going to bring in some archival ink, and I'm just going to stamp some more of those little glittery stamp. It's supposed to look like glittery stars onto the balloons. And so I'm just going to add those on each one of the balloons just to add a little bit more something to this card. And then I'm just going to lay out my balloons to see where I want to put everything. I know that I want to put 3 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Now I always try to do an odd number of decorations. I feel like that just looks more pleasing to the eye to have the odd number. So I'm just going to lay these out. And once I have them like I like them, then I'm going to decide which ones I'm going to pop up and which ones I'm going to glue flat. So I really like this layout along with the celebrate here at the bottom. So now I just have to decide which ones do I want to be flat and which ones I want to pop up. So I want to go ahead and glue down the ones that's going to be flat onto my card. So I think it'll look good to go ahead and pop up the 2 top ones here. So I'm going to glue down the rest of these onto my card front. And once again, acetate and liquid glue is very dangerous for me because I get it smeared everywhere. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on the back of each balloon so I make sure that it doesn't ooze out and get on my acetate. And so there, I'm just going to glue all 3 of those down, and then I'm going to come back with these 2, and I've added some foam tape to the back of them as well as to the word celebrate. And so I'm just going to pop these 2 up at the top here, and then the celebrate I'll pop up at the bottom. I felt like it would be too much to pop up those balloons at the bottom as well as the celebrate. So I decided I'm going to leave those flat. And so I've just got to figure out where these were to begin with. So it just takes me just a moment to figure that out, and then I'm just going to attach them on top of the other balloon. And then I'm going to bring in the celebrate, and I'm just going to attach it here at the bottom. I did add some itty bitty pieces here. I cut down my foam tape so that for the bottom of that C, and there is a shadow piece that you can cut out for this, and I did that in a previous video for that card. But for this one, I really just wanted the word celebrate and not the shadow. But if you like the shadow, you could cut that out as well. And so now I'm just going to add that to the bottom of my frame. And I really love how this card looks. I love orange and pink together. So I did go ahead and cut the happy swirls down before I started working with it to 4 by 5 1/4 so that my white card base will frame it out. I thought it looked good to have a little bit of that white card base framing it to go along with the frame that's on the front. And it was that simple. Here is your celebrate shaker card. I am going to bring in some more of that pink glitter, and I'm just going to glue a few pieces on the outside of my frame. Once again, I'm just going to come in with an odd number. I'm doing 3 at the top and 2 down at the bottom. And I think this just adds to the card and adds a bit of sparkle. I really love this glitter confetti and the sparkle that it adds. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed seeing me put this card together. If you have, don't forget to hit the like button. It lets me know if you're enjoying these videos or not. And let me know in the comments if you enjoy creating shaker cards. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.